Okay, that's on your end. Okay,
That's on my end.
we'll go ahead and start. Good morning, everyone, and every day we rise, it's a great day to be alive, and welcome to the Seven Cities Forums of Hampton Roads presents Portsmouth Coffee Talks morning show. My name is James Slim Overton, and I'm just one of the hosts of a fantastic team we have here of hosts with Leah Drake-Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman. And good morning again, and we have a special guest with us this morning, Dr. Andrea Frazer Warren. And good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for agreeing to be on Portsmouth Coffee Talk this morning. And Colonel, before I get started, Colonel, go ahead and do your disclaimer.
Yes, for those out there in Facebook land or in the sphere of the world, the views stated on this program are the host and the guests and no one else. We don't represent any third party. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. And of course, like I said, our guest is Dr. Andrea Frazer Warren, and she was brought up in Richmond and went to Hermitage High School and went to Norfolk State University. Okay, Norfolk State.
Hold the green and gold. We did well this weekend at MEAC.
Yep. We got two Norfolk State grads up here. And also she attended Old Dominion and Virginia Tech, where she got a doctor of philosophy. She had worked in the Virginia Beach school system for, I think I saw you were there 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and worked there and ended up there as a principal. What school were you a principal?
At Plaza Middle School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then if that wasn't enough, you became the director of the Governor's School for the Arts. And I think you did that for, how long did you do?
13 years.
13 years.
14 years, yeah.
And that wasn't enough. And now she is the director, president and CEO of the Virginia Symphony Orchestra. And this being Women's History Month, we're glad to have you on because you made history in that position. The first African-American to fill that one. Is it the first African-American period or first African-American woman?
Woman, first African-American woman, yeah.
Okay, yes. So that's appropriate. Now, I want to start off, you went to Hermitage High School, and I think one of your desires after Hermitage was to attend Norfolk State, one of HBCU. Tell us why that was so important to go to a HBCU, namely Norfolk State University.
Well, first of all, I didn't want to go to Hermitage. My parents moved us from north side of Richmond to Henrico County. I wanted to go to John Marshall. And that's where my friends went, my community went, my cousins went, and that's where I wanted to go. Ended up in Henrico County, ended up at Hermitage. And no disrespect to anyone, but I needed some Black people. I found myself being the only Black girl in classes. I found myself being the only Black girl doing things. I was on the drill team in high school, played a little bit of basketball, and I wanted to be near my people. So that's why my parents went to Virginia State. I didn't want to follow them. So I wanted to do something
do your own thing. Yes.
I wanted to do my own thing. I went to Norfolk State. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so amazing that we've had 3 of our women guests on here that play basketball.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, you just never think of it, but until it's mentioned. But the last 3 that we had on, each one of them played basketball. So it's going to be interesting going forward to see how that trend continues in basketball. So you went to Norfolk State and then graduated from there. So on your educational journey, and then you went to ODU, get a master's. And did the trip to Virginia Tech for your doctorate, did that come right in succession, or did that come later after you started teaching or something?
Oh, that came so much later. I wanted, it's really interesting, even how I got to Old Dominion. I wanted to be a guidance counselor, and I applied to ODU to be a guidance counselor. I did not get in that department. I didn't get in, which really, disappointed me. But a month later, I received a letter stating that I got into the administration program. So from that point, my whole career, I always say, has been driven by God, because I didn't apply for that program. I got that letter out of the total blue, blew me totally away. That was not, it's funny because all my paths have never been my chosen path. They've always been, I say, God's chosen path for me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, and this was well, my last question before the other hosts get in, and that kind of led you into, the education. I mean, teaching in the Virginia Beach schools, but explain to us. I mean, but what did you teach in the Virginia Beach schools? Because I'm trying to get to how you got into the performing arts part of it.
That's a good question. I was a health and physical education teacher.
Okay, completely different from.
Totally different. I coached basketball. I coached track.
Basketball again.
Yep. And I got into the arts because of my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's how all of that happened. So yeah, strange. Like I said, God's path, not my path.
Yeah, it's almost like, being a soccer parent. You were never into soccer until your kids start playing, and then all of a sudden you're into soccer. So it was just different. You going into the arts. So, Leah, if you have a question, I just wanted to lead that in and see how she got involved with that.
Yes, and she got involved. She says there's a result of her daughter. Now, did your daughter attend the school where you worked? That's the first question.
She did attend Governor School.
Uh-huh.
I was not working there when she attended.
Okay.
She attended Governor School in 2002.
Your daughter attended the school where you. So, and for those who may not know who your daughter is, and I think there are a few out here who may not know who your daughter is, will you share with us who your daughter is and her accomplishments as well? Because so often as mothers, we're either known as someone's wife or someone's mother. So just kind of give those out there who may not know who your daughter is, just a little brief something about her as well.
Well, my daughter is Andrea Warren. She was here in the area known as the first Black Annie. Mm-hmm. She played Annie with the Hurrah Players. She went off to college. While she was in college, she sung with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. She did that for Christmas season. After college, she did Dream Girls and traveled all over doing Dream Girls. But she is known for now playing Tina Turner first in London and then on Broadway, and she won the Tony for Tina Turner. She played Mamie Till in the women's movement. She just did The Woman's King with Viola Davis, and she has so many more projects. She's getting ready to go back on Broadway and to do, for a limited run, a Broadway show called Room.
Okay.
Dr. Warren, you said earlier, thank God for the arts. And I saw you in the interview mentioning that Adrian, dabbled in sports as well. Mm-hmm. And it's a good thing that the arts were there for, because she played basketball and track.
She played basketball. She ran track. She's fast. She's quick. Basketball, she's a little something. She played point guard. She could foul you, boy. She was tough.
If you needed someone to foul, Adrian was.
She would foul you. She was a hustler. So yeah, she still is a little hustler.
And so, Colonel, I'm sorry, Colonel.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dr. Warren. Actually, when I'm listening to you, I'm glad that they picked you up in admin versus the counseling, because I think you had more, you have a better career path within the admin piece, because one, you have the policy and you have more of an upward trajectory versus being on the clinical side. So that's my own personal opinion, but history has proven me right. So if you look at the arts, and I'll take you back to Virginia Beach School District. Are we doing enough and putting enough money into the arts, young kids?
No.
And how?
No.
Go ahead.
Well, I think, well, first of all, school districts, when they are struggling financially, the first programs that they cut are the arts. They're not going to cut football, because that brings in a little bit of revenue, right? That brings in a lot of revenue. They're not going to cut the sports because of the revenue that comes in. And first of all, parents aren't going to let them. But parents will let you cut the arts. And there are school districts that are very small. They keep band, because band supports football, but they will not keep visual arts. They will not keep theater. Those two programs are the programs that you will basically see in your high schools: theater and visual arts, painting, all of that, drawing. But they will cut those two programs. And the thing about it is that I believe that, you know, when we started doing SOLs, we stopped being creative in our instructions and how we teach our children. And by getting rid of the arts, and they have nothing to be creative with or to learn what creations are. And there are kids that have a natural ability to sing and draw and all of that stuff, but yet there's nothing to build on that. So yes, I think Virginia Beach is doing a very good job. They have all of these academies, and one is the arts, I don't know what they call it, Salem Arts Academy, so that kids can go to Salem and Virginia Beach. They have to audition and all of that, just like Governor's School. But, and they really focus, they have the arts within from middle school on to high school. But yeah, a lot of the smaller districts, they will cut arts in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I agree with you when they went to the SOLs, and actually the education departments or education presentations and went down after we passed Leave All the Children's Behind Act back in the George Bush area. Started our downward trend across America.
Yeah, because they're leaving children behind.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. Which makes the adults behind, and it's just a snowball effect. But also, I had a question for you. The governor's school, was that position a nominative, or did you have to apply for that?
Oh, I had to apply. One of the reasons, it's really funny. Well, it's not funny. One of the reasons why I even applied to governor's school is because I felt like God wanted me to be there. I was a principal at Plaza Middle School. Adrian's department chair, who was Chip Gallagher at the time, gave me a call and said, listen, the assistant director is retiring. I think you should apply. And I prayed and I thought about that thing, and I felt like God was telling me, because he was going to use me as his tool to find that school a building. When I got there, governor's schools, the departments were scattered all over the city of Norfolk. They had classes, instrumental and vocal music. They were at ODU. There were two other groups, visual arts and musical theater on 21st Street. Theater was located downtown. And that's what I felt. I told my husband, I said, I really feel strongly about this. I had a cut in salary. and I was a little concerned about that, but we didn't miss a beat.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's why I went there, because I felt like I was supposed to go there.
And and it's true that God does direct our path, because so often we are looking to go in one direction, and He moves us into a totally different direction than we had intended to go. But it's because we can make a major impact on the directions in which He placed us. And you definitely did that with the Governor's School of the Arts, as well as with the Symphony Orchestra. Your being there and people knowing who you are, it can help to generate some of that energy in the Black community to even want to, many who don't even think about the symphony orchestra, and
Yeah,
it give them something that they can probably think about, well, maybe I need to go in and check this out.
I hope
Your
so.
thoughts?
I really hope so. Yeah, I believe that to be true. Um, Classical music, here's the thing about classical music, it's a part of our life, and half the time we don't even realize it, right? Every TV show that we watch, every commercial we see, there's music behind it. We go to the
Exactly.
movies, there's music in the background. That music helps stimulate our reaction to what's going on the screen. Like if we are anticipating something, then the music changes.
Exactly.
If there whatever mood, that mood comes from the music. If you saw that same movie, if you watched that same show and you took away the music, the feeling wouldn't be the same.
Exactly.
So it enhances. And it is a part of our life anyway. So yeah, so I think it's really important that all communities, Black, white, the indigenous, Hispanic, everyone, the music is for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a part. Black folks typically like something we can bounce to. We'll go to jazz.
Oh yes, that's true.
We'll be there. We'll have just as much fun at the symphony.
Yeah, Dr. Warren, two things I forgot to mention, that you're married to Reverend Samuel Warren Jr., and that you're a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Yep, I'm representing.
Okay, represent.
And James, you should also mention that Reverend Warren was a part of our community as well.
Yes,
The Truxton community.
You grew up in Truxton on Hopson
Yes,
Street.
He's also a Q.
He's also a Q. Let's mention that.
Right. That's right.
Let me turn on Atomic Dog and see what he does. Anyway, since you were talking about the community, I think you have a director of diversity and engagement, and Nikki Thorpe, is she still there?
Oh, she's there.
Yeah, and was that something that was there before you came, or something that you established after you got there?
No, that was
intentional. And it was intentional because it worked out. Talk about the program with the Mount that you had, where you brought together the orchestra and the gospel music. And come to think of, you mentioned music is everywhere. Temptation songs, the Delphonics. You hear that symphony in the background.
That's right.
And when we talk, I told you I played cello a little bit, so I can listen to music and hear the cello, through all the music, because I had that experience. But it sort of rounded me out in my appreciation for music, being a part of that. And I can go and sit in a symphony right now, concert, and enjoy it just as much as I'm going to see Frankie Beverly.
Yeah. Nikki was intentional. What happened, Karen Fillion, who was the president at the time, and all of this really took place after George Floyd. We were all sitting at home because of the pandemic. George Floyd happened, everything, Black Lives Matter, the whole thing. So organizations really began to be intentional about being more inclusive. And so at the time, I was a member of the board and actually on the interview committee to hire the new diversity and engagement person. And it just happened that we found this young lady from, I think she's from Philly, and she is one dynamic. Yeah, Pittsburgh, there you go. She's one dynamic woman who has jumped into this community, has become very engaged in the community, especially the Black community. And when she came on board, Sam is very close to, he's friends with Bishop Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to Bishop Brown, thought it would be a cool thing to get the symphony involved with the Mount. And in fact, we have what's called Harmony churches.
Mm-hmm.
And the Harmony churches are Black churches that enable our musicians in small groups, ensembles, to go in, and they kind of enhance the Sunday experience, the religious experience, by playing. So I didn't want to, if we could come up with a program that we could do at the Mount, we thought it would be a great way to bring the music to the Black community. And that's exactly what we did. And we did a Christmas event. We had church, we had Christmas music, we had a blast. It was amazing.
What Dr. Warren, what efforts are being made by the symphony to bring this to the public school system? Especially, like you said, Virginia Beach school system has a lot of avenues open for students, but when you come to places like Portsmouth, it may not be there. Are there any things that the symphony is planning on doing in order to bring this to the students, bring it to the schools?
We're already doing it. We've been doing it for years. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a swords program in which we ask the school districts in various high schools or middle schools to select a handful of students, and we bring musicians in, and they work one-on-one with these young people.
Great.
So if they're horn players, and we'll bring one of our horn professionals, and they work one-on-one, and they may go a few times throughout the year. We also do what's called young people's concerts. We go into each school district. We have concerts. They bring their children in for young people, and it's really a fun event. It's very engaging. The kids get involved. I think the last one I watched, they all had, I used to call them little flutes. You remember the flutes?
Right.
That we had in school. They call them something else. I can't remember what they call them, but the kids played with the symphony on these flutes. So so we're already doing a lot. I have a phenomenal education director, and we do go into all of the school districts.
Wonderful.
In the area.
Now, how long is your tenure with the symphony?
I think my contract right now is 3 years, but I'm sure it will probably in order for me to do everything that I need to do to really secure what I'm trying to do is advance the symphony. We're trying to diversify our audience, because the audience is older, white. We need more faces in the audience.
Yes.
And we also need a home. We need not necessarily a venue to perform, but we need a place to rehearse and office space. So I'm working with the city of Norfolk to hopefully find some place that we can call home.
Great. That's great.
That's great. Hey, Slim, you might want to say something. Oh, we never did get the radio station.
Oh, okay. So you can go ahead and continue, but before you do, Colonel, I see where somebody named Annette Chapman said that Reverend Warren graduated with her in '78 from IC Norcom. And Annette Chapman is Colonel Chapman's wife. So they graduated from Norcom in '78. She made sure she made that known on ourselves. So
awesome. But while we're out there, since we're talking this, and all the people out there listening in Electron Lands, we at Portsmouth Coffee Talk are asking for donations or honorarium so we can continue this great work, because you're not going to hear it anywhere. You can't turn on Fox. You'll never hear this on Fox or any CBS or whatever, or in the radio stations. And so you can send a donation to Portsmouth Coffee Talk, P.O. Box 7664, Portsmouth, Virginia 23707, and is greatly appreciated. And for those who are electronically inclined, Slim will give you the Zelle and all that other stuff.
Yeah, the Cash App is $PCT1220. And the Zelle, if you use that way, is portsmouthcoffeetalk@yahoo.com. portsmouthcoffeetalk@yahoo.com. Thank you. We appreciate it. Everything we get from you goes into the production of this and improving what we do here today.
Yes.
Well, every week, every month.
Yes. So now that we've gotten the housekeeping out of the way, Dr. Warren, if I'm a young aspiring musician, how does my parents or I get into the governor's school?
Oh, that's a real good question. You have to audition. So just in case people don't know, governor's school isn't where they go for high school all day. It's a part of their high school experience. So in other words, students will take their main classes of English, math, and everything else at their home high school. And then they come to governor's school in the afternoon. Depending upon what city they live in, depends on what time they start. Like Virginia Beach comes at 1 o'clock. Chesapeake comes at 2 o'clock. So it does extend their day. Their day is a lot longer than normal, but they have to audition. And the audition process is on Governor School's website. The auditions typically take place in January for their upcoming, their next class that starts the following year. So in order to have a full 4 years, you should start applying in middle school as 8th graders. If children attend private school, they can apply, but in order to attend, they have to attend a public high school. It is a public program. The school districts pay for the students to attend, and the state pays for students to attend. There are 19 governor schools across the state, and most of them are math and science. I know if you've heard news about TJ, Thomas Jefferson, and up north, Northern Virginia, that is a governor's school. So there are 19 of them, but the one in Norfolk is the only one that's totally about the arts.
You know, the next question I got is a follow-up. Are there any longitudinal studies to look at the outcome of students that graduate, that that go through the program, so I can see the success versus the other students?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the majority of the successful students are Black. And I believe, because I tell my students all the time, and they still reach out. I have kids call me all the time. They finish college, they want to sit down and talk, they want some guidance. I'll sit down, I love talking to them, I love guiding them, but I tell them, don't have a plan B. Always have a plan, have your plan A. If you want to do this, if the arts is truly your passion, you have to eat and sleep it, you breathe it, it's what you want to do. Don't have a plan B, because if you have a plan B, you need to do the plan B, because it's too hard. It's hard. You're gonna think you're not talented. You're gonna question whether or not you should do it. You're not gonna stay focused. Your parents are gonna want you to come home, as it becomes very expensive. But if you just have a plan A, you're gonna hustle, because it is a hustle.
Yeah, and Dr. Warren, you know, I go back, I mentioned about I played cello, and it was junior high school days, and every junior high school and every high school back there had an orchestra, a full orchestra, and we competed every spring, and it was a big deal. And a lot of kids that were in the orchestra, by the time they graduated and were going on to college, it was nowhere for them. You know, most colleges, especially our HBCUs, did not have orchestras. you know,
Mhm.
and it was nowhere. And a lot of those people just dropped their, put their violin, put their cello, put their bass fiddle down, and never picked it back up. We had one guy that was with us there. His name escapes me, but he went on. He played for years for the Norfolk Symphony Orchestra. I think at that time he was the only a Black in the orchestra at that time playing the cello.
Yep.
And unfortunately, he passed away from cancer. But I'll probably think of his name after we
Mhm.
go off air, because I wanted to give him credit for what he did during those times. Are we really? And you talked about, are we really encouraging students in the orchestra or something like that to take it beyond the high school level? I mean, are there places for them to go? I mean, you have the Governor School of Arts while they're in high school, but when they graduate and go on to college, what opportunities are there for them to continue that?
There are a lot of opportunities. They just need to know how to find them,
Mhm.
right? What Governor School does that normal high school does not do is provide students a path to move forward, right? Like, in order for them to go to college, to play an instrument, or to do musical theater, or to do theater, there is a process. They have to apply, they have to audition. That takes money. Instruments are not cheap.
Right.
Parents need to understand that it's a price. It's also a sacrifice for the family.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If my husband really knew how much I spent on Adrian and dance class and everything else, he would have had it. He didn't know, but it costs. All of those things cost. But and I don't think the high schools, the teachers are really telling kids, or they're not communicating if this is really a path for you, what to do. First of all, the high schools don't even want their kids to apply to Governor School.
Mhm.
And that's a problem.
Mhm.
They feel like Governor School takes their best kids from them. But the fact of the matter is, those kids want to continue to play at their high school.
Mhm.
And what they get at Governor School by spending 3 hours getting that one-on-one attention, we're talking about kids who probably have never had any. I've seen kids come through Governor School who have never had a private lesson, but just have a gift
Mhm.
and an ability. And they come to Governor School and they blossom because they
Mhm.
spend 3 hours. You can't help but get good, get better. Same thing with vocal music is opera, classical vocal program for kids. The kids coming from Norfolk, coming from Chesapeake, Black, White, they never sung opera.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
come into Governor School, they get private vocal lessons, they grow, they begin to love opera to the point that they drag their parents along. I didn't know anything about opera until I went to Governor School. In fact,
Mhm.
me being a Black woman, I didn't care too much for that stuff. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, there is a path, but first of all, parents, if high school parents don't know what that path is or how to follow that path, then a lot of times kids are left out and don't know what to do.
Mhm.
And I see the same thing in colleges, especially our HBCUs.
Mhm.
When kids go to North, I'm concerned about it because when kids go to Hampton, or if kids go to Norfolk State and they're in the theater program, then they come out, then what do they do?
Mhm.
Are we preparing them? Are we doing like the white schools do and take them to New York? Have we even taken them to New York for a trip to see a Broadway show, to see a theater? Have you even done that? Have you set up a showcase and everyone goes to, what's the name of the restaurant? Something 50, 51, 54. Anyway, a lot of these white colleges set up programs, and they do they sing, they have an orchestra, or they have someone playing. These kids are singing, they have agents, they have managers to come in. And then those agents and managers look at the talent that's coming through from these colleges. They have meetings with these kids. So when they come out of school, they may already have an agent and can start auditioning. That's how a lot of governor school kids who've gone off to Elon, Grant Gustin, who is the Flash, Adrienne went to Marymount Manhattan. She had an agent before she came out of college. So when she came out, she graduated in 2009 in May. In June, she had her first show. It wasn't on Broadway, but she did the right. So she came out and went right into work. I've seen other kids do that. They come out and go right into work.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure of how HBCUs are doing that.
And it's a lot of other things they can do, you know, even if you go in with an instrument or you go in there vocally, you know, you can become a vocal coach, which many of the professionals out there in the business been singing a long time, still use vocal coaches. You can compose music. It's a big demand for anybody. It amazes me how somebody can compose a whole composition for all the instruments. I mean, that takes some talent. And saying that, is any theory taught in the School of the Arts, or does that come later?
Theory is taught.
Okay.
I walk in those classes and I walk right out because I don't even know what they're talking about.
I don't blame you. That's heavy.
That's
just
tough.
like I mentioned, to be able to arrange, compose, and arrange for each instrument for one particular song. That amazes me that somebody can do that. Sit down and just know what the cello should be doing, know what the trumpet should be doing, and know how the vocals should go to put together something. And that's just amazing.
That's a gift.
Yeah, it's definitely a gift, but it needs to be, you know,
enhanced.
Yes, needs to be enhanced.
Yeah.
And Norfolk State has not reached out to you at all with their drama department or with their. There's been no collaboration on that part.
No, I do have a meeting to talk about the symphony, but I'm going to bring up the arts when I go in. I have a meeting with the president soon, so
Good.
yeah, I do want to have those discussions because I think it's really important. Kids have
important.
Kids have to know what to do next.
Exactly.
You know, they have to know, and you know, a lot of kids, even those that go to Broadway, or they, you know, I tell them all the time, don't depend on your manager, or don't depend, because they have agents first. Your agents to get your job. What are you doing? You can't be just sitting. You need to look at the sheet too and see what's going on. If there's an open call, then you need to get in an open call. You can't depend on your. They can help your path, but they shouldn't run your path. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I hope that they do, because the drama department has been very good at Norfolk State, and it would be a great thing if that avenue is provided for those students there who are participating in the drama program there at NSU. So
yeah, I think it's important that, you know, whoever, because the reason why a lot of these white schools do so much for their students is because they're hiring people who have been performers, who have relationships in New York, who can pick up the phone and call an agent or casting and have them come in and do a master class with the kids and really work with the kids, who can, you know, and they can take kids to Africa, because I've seen programs like that will take them overseas to get to perform or to get some work, to learn additional skills in Africa. They can do that.
Yes.
But you got to hire the people to do that, you know, who have that ability.
You know, and like you say, also with them really taking the funding out of the arts, because I know Norcom used to have a massive theater program there when I was in school, and it's just not there anymore. and plus rely on teachers who are stressed out because of SOLs. They don't have the time to devote to the students for after school programs anymore, that the theater program has just become so small, and you just think back to all of the great productions that went on there, and you just don't get that anymore in the school.
Yeah, my Sam and I went to a musical. It was a Latin Junior at Western Branch Middle School, and I was totally blown away.
Yeah.
There's some talent in the middle schools.
Yes.
And we need to take advantage of that. We need to really help support these young people who have less talent, and because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think if you tap into them at that age, it also will help with some of the problems they're having in school, because it would give the children something to do that they're good at. They don't realize they're good at it. But if you can get them into those classes and show them how good they are, that will cut down on some of the destruction that's going on in the schools at this time. So,
yeah, what people don't understand, the arts provide more than just the acting, the singing, and all of that. These kids build confidence.
Yes.
They learn how to communicate because they have to.
Exactly.
In theater and musical theater at Governor School and vocal music, they have to be able to explain what it is they're doing. Standing in front of somebody, hello, my name is so-and-so, I'm going to sing such and such and such, right? And they do that with comfort and ease, and they build that confidence. So yeah, we have to understand that the arts do more than just teach just those basic art things.
Yes. Yes.
So.
Dr. Warren, I'm gonna add something. Slim talked about his cello. And I know he's very proud. But I will tell you, I played a year of clarinet. Can't do it if I had to. Because of that.
I lost that ability too. Tried to pick it up 40 years later, but
Slim was in the hospital preparing for his heart surgery, just after his heart surgery, and had his cello in the hospital room with him, just to impress those who were coming through. He didn't play anything for us, but it was impressive to come into that room to see that cello sitting in his room.
Yeah,
I almost got put out the hospital trying to play that thing. But Dr. Warren, I want to blow your horn just a little bit. The saying is, when you find your purpose, you always want to leave a place better than it was when you got there. And when you were director of the Governor School of Arts, it was different locations. Some people and some parents probably had to drive their kids there, so it was always somewhere different. And you were instrumental in making sure securing a permanent location, like you're trying to do now for the for the Virginia Symphony. How important was that to have a permanent location for the students to come to? Especially, you have some students come from Southampton and things like that. Like I said, the bus picks up some, but a lot of parents had to bring their own and had to figure out, okay, where we're going to be this week. So how important is it?
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning Southampton, because some of those kids would tell you they had never been to Norfolk until they came to Governor School. I had a kid to tell me he didn't even see a blade of grass of Norfolk until he came to Governor School.
Wow.
But yeah, we have Governor School is located on Granby Street, this 6th-floor building. Actually, when I retired from Governor School, the kids, they gave me this that represents the school, and it really became a Fame. You know what I mean? You remember Fame on TV?
Yes.
That's how it became. You had that energy on each floor. You have these buses, these yellow buses that come by and pick them up, and these kids are out in the street singing and dancing, and there's that arts energy on each floor. So you have a building with about 300, 400 students that all have the love for arts and that energy is throughout.
Mhm.
And everyone is very supportive and loving, and yeah, it's really a cool environment
Mhm. Mhm.
for young people, and it's a safe place for them to
Yes.
be who they
Yes.
are,
Mhm.
Yes.
and that's important.
Mhm.
You know,
'Cause-
the other piece of that I think we missed is why don't we get more participation? I think there's exposure of the parents, because they get caught up in the world of work and trying to provide, and they weren't exposed to the arts as much as they should had,
Mhm.
and so they don't pass this along to their kids or support the kids as much as they should. And I just got to add that in there.
Yeah, that's a concern of mine too, because and in fact, I've been working with a couple of women who we have created a foundation called the Warren Arts Access Advocacy Foundation. Yeah, because I have to write it down because I can't remember what we call it. And it's for that purpose, is to provide guidance for families who have no idea, who have this kid that came out of nowhere that has all this talent. And if you were like me, you were like, okay, I don't even know what to do with this. I have no idea, but I know I need to do something with this talent. And there are families who can't afford dance classes that cost an arm and a leg, or an instrument that could cost, well, you know how much a cello costs.
Mhm.
They're very, very, or a bassoon.
Mm.
You know, so we're talking about $1,000s or more, and to give and to help parents find private lesson teachers, you know, or, you know, someone that they could talk to help guide them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, that's a foundation that we put together for that purpose.
And
Yeah.
and how would they find out about the foundation? How do they get in touch with you if there's a parent out there who may have an interest?
Yeah, that's a good question, because right now we're just getting started.
Okay.
We have
Okay.
just finished the paperwork, you know, there's a lot of paperwork that goes
Of
into
course.
501c3. So we're just in the process of we're gonna do a website and have an email and really go to the school districts and reach out and let the families know that we are here to help the best way
Good.
we can.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah, and I really believe in exposure, because how many students or young people know what a bassoon is?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
It's a wind instrument, and you know, they probably seen it and didn't know what it was, but it's a very important part of the orchestra, bassoon. And I remember this fellow that played the bassoon in the Norcom concert band, and before he played it, nobody knew what that was, but he mastered that thing and played it well into his adulthood. So the being exposed, and you never know, that person might be drawn to the bassoon, you know, after never hearing about it. But you know, being exposure sometimes brings out the best in a lot of people, a lot of our young students. So
Yeah, I always ask the kids why that instrument. There is something about that instrument that drew you to it. I mean, why the cello? Why were you drawn to the cello? Why would you be drawn to a bassoon? That thing is huge, you know, or percussion. I would always tell the students, all I want to do is play the triangle. I just want to play the triangle.
yeah.
So yeah.
I was drawn to the cello because I wanted to play the bass fiddle, but my best friend picked up the bass fiddle, so I still wanted to be involved, especially in the ensembles that we had outside of the orchestra. And we would travel around and perform in the ensemble, so we couldn't have two bass fiddles. So I chose the cello and really was drawn to it until my legs I started getting taller. and, and my legs were going way past the cello sitting down. So, but that was one of the things, but I still enjoyed that. But, you know, I go back to exposure.
Yeah.
So I did.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Colonel. I'm sorry.
I guess, and I was thinking as we were talking, you were talking about the bassoon. I guess if I had to do it over again, I'd become a flute player because I fell in love with the flute when I listened to my favorite Herbie Mann, who's passed on. And there's if you get a chance, listen to Memphis Underground.
Yeah.
And that album. And I still I have that CD and I have in my car, and I listen to it all the time. And I think it's it was just so put together. I shake my head every time I
Yeah.
listen. So
One of the first mainstream flute players, and I think it's the way you pronounce that too, Flowers.
Loudest, it depends.
Flowers. Okay. It depends on who's talking. And it was Bobby Humphreys, who was a Black female who brought that out, as far as in the world of jazz. And now you have a lot of Black females playing the flute now that are getting recognition for doing that. I don't know. I never could understand how I guess you had to blow down on it or whatever.
Yeah, you blow down.
Yeah.
But Lizzo plays the flute.
Lizzo. Yes, she sure does, and she plays it well. And I think that's great in that genre she's in to expose kids to the flute as well. So that's something amazing. I don't know what happened to Leah, but as we wind down, we'll make our closing comments, and Leah usually starts off, but we'll let you, Doctor, we'll let you. Oh, I wanted to mention, you were talking about the students applying. It's a certain GPA, I'm sure, that they have to have, just like in any other extracurricular activity.
Yeah, I mean, they have to, let's see, when I was there, I think we established a 3.0, and this is why. If a kid is coming to governor's school and they are struggling academically, then what typically happens is that they need to spend time at their high school catching up or getting extra help. And if you're doing that, then you're missing classes at governor's school.
Exactly.
So you have to be motivated. And that's one thing about the arts, especially governor's school or anything. If kids love something, they're going to be so passionate about it that they're going to want to take care of the academics. When Adrian was coming through, the deal was, as long as your grades were up, you could do hurrah players. You could do all of these things. Although I asked her every year, please tell me you're tired. Are you tired? Because I'm tired. You tired? But what I realized is that whenever she was not performing, whenever she wasn't doing something with hurrah, her grades dropped. Dropped slightly.
Wow.
Once she was back in, her grades, and she had straight A's all the way through school. So, that was a motivation to do well academically.
Okay, that's encouraging. That's a lesson that's some of the kids, because if they want to be involved, I mean, they have to keep those grades up, and what better motivation than that, than to keep those grades up. Okay, as we wind down, Leah, do you want to make your final comments?
Dr. Warren, I am thrilled that you chose to be on Portsmouth Coffee Talk, especially during this Women in History Month, and especially to have a Black woman who is over the symphony orchestra, which is a message to many of our listeners and our viewers who are out there. And so I want to thank you for all the service that you've given in the music field, in the theatrical field, all that you've done to enhance the knowledge, because a lot of things that have taken place with your family has enhanced those of us in the community, because many people have never been to Broadway. Because your daughter was on Broadway, they went to New York to Broadway. So you paved another path for a lot of people. So you and your husband both, and your daughter, I want to thank you so much for all that you've done, all that you've given to the community, and all that you continue to give to the community. Thank you. Thank you most of all.
Oh, thank you. So sweet. That make me feel good.
As well, you should.
Yes, Dr. Warren, I'd like to thank you again and echo what Leo said. But I got one more thing that I'd like to say is that for the children out there, or actually for the parents, going to programs like we just talked about teaches your child time management, how to multitask, gives them a sense of community and exposure by diversity, especially in these times where we're trying to whitewash history. And
Oh, that's another show.
It is a total, yes,
Yeah.
and we need to bring you on for that one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then we've made the word diversity a negative name in the Confederate sphere here. And so you keep doing what you're doing. I just had to add that piece in there because I couldn't let it go.
And Karen, it's called being woke, woke, woke.
Yeah, and they trying to make that a bad word.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
it's actually a good word.
Actually,
Dr.
good
Warren,
word.
I'd like to thank you too. And of course, we want you back, just like you mentioned, because I know you have some opinions on that subject as well. So we will come back and discuss that with you. And so people won't be confused and they won't go to the symphony and expect to see you up there conducting. That's not what you do.
Not what I do.
You're on the business side of it.
I'm on the business side. That's right.
And we certainly appreciate you coming here today and enjoyed the conversation. And I just want to throw in, watch us this Thursday as we continue with the Women's Month. We have Dr. Linda Hayton. She is the director of Center of Excellence in Remote Sensing and Research at Elizabeth City State University. Now, if you want to know what that's all about, come to our show on Thursday at 7 o'clock here, right here.
Yes. And it looks like you know Linda. I saw the reaction there.
Oh no, I get excited about any Black woman.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, she's good people. She's
I
good
think
people.
she's Divine 9 too. I won't mention it because it might be till I find out. I don't know if she's Delta, AKA, or Zeta. Anyway, she's Divine 9. But the Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for
And
our
before
voice.
you go, James, there's one thing I want to say for the parents who are out there. Tonight, Norcom High School has Chart Your Course Night. If you have a student who's in the middle school, bring them out between the hours of 6 and 7:45 so that they can learn about the STEM program, TV production, first college program. Bring your children out, expose them now, parents. Another thing, the scholarships for the Norcom Alumni Association has been sent to each senior at IC Norcom High School. Parents, push your children to sign up for those scholarships that we have available for your students. They're out there, parents, and I put a link on my page so the parents can know how you can access the scholarships as well.
Yeah, and
And
next year,
read over their essays if they have an
Please.
essay.
Oh,
read
Dr.
over that essay.
Dr.
Yeah.
Warren, it hurts my heart. When I read some of those essays, it really hurts my heart, but
Read over.
be with your children, help your children out, please.
Yeah.
And if you can't help them, get them to someone who can help
and
them.
that's where you really know where they are. Once
Exactly.
you read the essay.
Exactly.
And next year have Dr. Warren at that event so that she can talk about the arts.
Exactly.
You
Most
mention everything but the arts. The
yeah,
STEM,
I did.
yeah.
Yes, STEM. I don't see anything about the arts on here at all. But
Okay,
they're talking about,
okay.
oh no, they are. They said the athletic program, NJROTC, the orchestra, and the chorus. So it is on there as well. Okay.
Very good.
Just a little broader than that. But anyway, Boston Coffee Talk is here for our voice.
For our community.
In our future.
And we salute you, Dr. Warren.
Doctor. Thank you.
Thank
We
you so
appreciate
very
you.
much for all that you do.
Have a
Have a
great
great
day.
day. Tell your husband that we said hello.
I will. I will.
Drink some tea and honey.
Have a good one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.